Hi, I'm Ini from Raki Raki. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
In this bulletin, 5-front court for alleged attempted murder. Military personnel manning quarantine facilities. And fish sales becoming competitive. Five people, including a juvenile, appeared in the Lambasa High Court today charged with attempted murder and intimidation in Savu Savu. 44-year-old Are Kakanu, 18-year-old Salandau, 42-year-old Michael Indawai, Bob John Maisa Moa, and one other are alleged to have beaten and threatened Mairewa Kakalo on the 23rd of last month at Waisangavuna settlement in Tadilevu village. Kakalo was allegedly taken to a secluded location, threatened and beaten for informing police about a marijuana farm. It's also alleged that he was put into a hole and threatened that he will be buried alive. It's also alleged that the victim was forced to eat goat feces and had his hair cut off. The case will be called again on Monday. There are currently 47 military personnel stationed at various government quarantine facilities in the Western Division. Military Commander Rear Admiral Viliamino Poto says these soldiers are looking after 276 Fijians. Now, Poto adds these soldiers ensure that those in quarantine adhere to the COVID-19 protocols and routine that has been set by the Health Ministry.
47 RFMF personnel there are there with 4 staff from the Ministry of Health who do the necessary health checks. From the reports that I get, those that are in quarantine behave very well and they follow the quarantine requirements.
Minister for Economy Ayas Aid Kayum has stressed the need for school students to enter professions they are passionate about rather than being coerced into or simply following the crowd. He made this remark while addressing Year 13 students of Natambua High School yesterday, adding that the government has recalibrated its focus to meet the challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Economy Minister also briefed the students of the COVID-19 Economic Recovery Framework and plans to continue work around this crisis.
But if there is no vaccine for the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the way we interact with each other, the way we do business, the way we travel, the conditions in which we travel will all have to be recalibrated. We need to relook at it. Amidst all of this, of course, we as a government need to ensure that people like yourselves, when you finish high school, when you go to university, we have opportunities for you.
Sales for Silverfish vendors have been drastically affected as many Fijians are now opting to buy fish from nearby fish shops. Silverfish Vendors Association President Samu Mairawai says people now prefer fish slices for its affordability, something they cannot compete with. He adds they are optimistic that the lifting of the ban on Kawakawa and Donu will help them with their sales.
More than 50% of our customers are swarming into the shop, especially on Saturdays. You come around and then Saturdays you'll see the crowd that goes in.
The Real Estate Agent Licensing Board is currently investigating 10 cases of bogus agents in collaboration with the Criminal Investigation Department. RealB Chair Dr. Abdul Hassan says these cases have been referred to CID for further investigation as it is a major concern for the board. Dr. Hassan says 9 cases were referred to CID last year. He adds it's crucial for Fijians to demand a real estate company or an agent to produce identification card before engaging them in the buying, selling or renting of properties around the country. The chair says RealB is concerned with illegal agent dealings, particularly with the university students becoming victims of scam acts. Dr. Hassan says students are most vulnerable to such fraudulent practices as they are desperate to rent flats close to universities. The Ministry of Fisheries is calling on Fijians to adhere to the beach DeMer ban in place. Minister Semi Correia-Visau says the ministry is considering a temporary lift of the ban. However, the consultation process is still ongoing. Correia-Visau says they are having consultations around the country and people must understand that it is a complicated process which will take time. The minister adds there are a lot of issues that needs to be considered to ensure the sustainability of beach DeMer for future generations.
People misinterpret it. and then they go out to collect beach DeMer, then they will be on the wrong side of the law, and then they will be prosecuted for it.
The high demand for tractors from farmers in Lambasa has led to the first tractor dealership in the north. Global Machinery Pte Limited Director Hamza Hussein says more people in Lambasa are now turning to farming during this pandemic, and this has caused a spike in demand. Hussein says the new tractor dealership will boost agricultural activity in Lambasa.
Our tractor dealership actually started off with a lot of vested interest coming in from farmers telling us to import tractors. AUSN Group's basically business actually started off in Lambasa. So we're very close, we have knit ties to the farmers here in Lambasa.
I do sugarcane farming. Together with that, I do vegetable farming. I do rice planting when the season is on. So I've got 2 farms in Singanga and 1 in Tobata. And I know that this tractor will help me a lot.
Turning overseas, there are global calls for calm in Lebanon's capital 6 days after the deadly blast destroyed much of Beirut. As violent protests continue, world leaders say they are only releasing millions in aid once demand for reforms are addressed. Up ahead, former Bati involved in alleged stabbing incident. And youngest player in BOG ready for semi-finals.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Former Fijian Bati rep Ratu Nanovo is accused of stabbing 3 people after a Western Sydney Rugby League game on Sunday. Australian media report emergency services were called to a car park at North Parramatta following reports of an assault after a match between Penrith Brothers and Wentworthville Magpies. A 19-year-old Magpies player and 2 spectators aged 16 and 22 were injured during the fight and remain in hospital. Police will allege 19-year-old Penrith player Nanovo got a knife out of a car and stabbing the trio, who are all related. Nanovo made his debut for the Bati against Lebanon in Australia last year, and he also featured in a 2018 Australian schoolboys to tour England. Police arrested Nanovo on Sunday night. Time management is of utmost importance for the youngest player in the 2020 Punjab's Battle of the Giants tournament. 17-year-old bar goalkeeper Isikeli Sevenaya says juggling training and studies is pretty challenging. However, the Year 13 student of AD Patel College in Bar says he has found a way to manage both training and studies.
Just trying to be on time. Just try to manage my time most. When it's time to study, go study. When it's time to go for training, I attend training before time. Watching it on TV, now in real life, you know how it feels to play for big teams.
26 rugby league teams will vie for the prestigious Vodafone Cup starting on Saturday. This is an increase from the normal 15 teams that competes in the Premier Division. The competition will be played on a round-robin basis with 94 matches to be played altogether. FNRL Chief Executive Don Atabe says this year's change in competition format will allow for a more competitive Vodafone Cup.
Due to the influx of teams, we've changed the format a little bit more to suit the number of teams that we have there. But we currently had as a qualifying round from each of the 4 state conferences from the East and West. This year, teams will qualify directly from their pool groups into the Grand Final Series.
Cloudy periods with brief showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Mainly fine elsewhere. Cool at night. Forecast for more fine conditions tomorrow. And that's your FBC News Now. Join us again at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. And remember, in times of crisis, you need news you can trust. Get the facts from verified news sources like FBC's TV, radio, and digital news by logging on to our website at fbcnews.com.fj, keeping Fijians connected with the truth.
I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.